Good evening, Fernwood. It is your TV pal Neil, and it's time for some more late night variety madness with the next episode of Fernwood Tonight. If you're just seeing my face for the first time, this is a reaction show. We'll be watching Fernwood Tonight together, then we will chat about it, and if that sounds like it's your bag, then please stick around. Today we are watching episode 15 from July 22nd, 1977. Yesterday left me feeling a bit peckish, so let's take a bite. We started with Barth Gimble being his humble self, telling of an interaction he had with a police officer. Then we introduced Tony Roletti, who serves up a rendition of I Write the Songs. Tony spends some time on the couch and lets Barth promote his record. Then Susan Cloud returns with some news about her Indian Relief theme night at her restaurant. Barth then spends some time preparing to say goodbye and introducing a new French number. And he delivers an ode to hors d'oeuvres. Everyone yesterday made my stomach grumble, so let's take in another feast.
Fernwood Tonight, coming to you live with your host for tonight, Mr. Barth Gimble. Tonight, Barth's guest will be Dr. Emmanuel Kaczynski, who plans to breed with big men. Lou Moffat with some words of warning to music lovers. Happy Kind and the Mirth Makers. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard. And now your host and mine, Mr. Barth Gimble.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, what a nice welcome. Welcome to Fernwood Tonight. You know, today I was reading in the local paper here, the Fernwood Courier, as they call it. I saw something kind of caught my eye that was just a ridiculous little article. It seems there's this gentleman who works in the White House. His name is Barry Jagoda. Now, that's got kind of an Eastern European ring to it. I know it sounds funny, but he's in the White House, and that's what makes our country great, isn't it? Okay. At any rate, he was saying that the President of the United States is our biggest television star. Our president, a TV star. Well, maybe I'm just a taste old-fashioned, but to me, stars are actors and entertainers. If the people of the United States had wanted a television star for a president, well, then I think they would have voted for Ronald Reagan, huh? Maybe that's going too far. It probably is. I'm sure maybe one or two of you voted for him, though. Sorry. Okay, maybe that is going too far. But how about somebody who's paid his dues if you're going to go for a star, huh? Someone like Robert Redford, a Mick Jagger, or a Barth Gimble. Someone who's got a strong local following. Someone who's earned stardom by doing more than just grinning and wearing sweaters. I mean, look at Carter's record. When a man has a show on all three networks at the same time, when he gets a ton of free publicity right before each show, and he still finishes ninth behind Wild Kingdom. Need I say more? That man is just not a star in my particular edition of TV Guide. Now, I'm not talking politics, for crying out loud. Hey, for all I know, the man might even be a good president. But there's no connection between keeping you fine people entertained and bringing peace to the Mideast. So Jimmy, and yes, I'm going to call you Jimmy, because if you're going to let yourself be called a star, you're just like Dinah, Merv, Mike. You're Jimmy. You're not Mr. President. So, Jimmy, if you think you're a star, these cameras, these microphones are yours. Let's stand side by side in the studio, one-on-one, and let's just see who gives Mr. and Mrs. Television set owner more sheer entertainment value, huh? Okay. I don't care what it is. Jokes? Sure. Singing? I'm game. Guitar playing? Specialty. You name it. Sure, it's a challenge. But that's what the president gets paid for, to face up to challenges, okay? Here's the number. Call this, Jimmy. 555-5624. That's 555-5624. We have an operator on duty, too, I think. Now, I realize you're probably not watching the show, Jimmy, but you might have friends around here, old campaign workers, something like that. Someone will get this message to you, and maybe we'll see you right here on the Fernwood Tonight stage soon. And we'll give you, don't worry, we'll give you the big VIP treatment. We'll bill you as a special guest, and we'll do our darndest to have you on early in the show. Okay? Okay.
If and when Jimmy Carter appears on our show, he'll be our guest at the Apache Motor Inn Hotel.
Great. That's our announcer, Jerry Hubbard. Jerry, you're always set.
Well,
That would be a thrill to have the president on our show, wouldn't it?
One-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he thinks he's a TV star. He does not know much about the business, that's for darn sure. There's certain categories I think we're going to have to divide it up into, like singing would be one. I think one area would be...
How about the guitar? Let's not forget that. You may say that's going to put you at an unfair advantage, but I think...
well, there's things he should know.
Here we are. Pardon me for turning my back on the audience.
That's one thing that Jimmy should learn.
Yeah.
If he's going to be a star, never do that. In your case, don't turn your front on the audience. No, but one of the categories I think we ought to do, to keep things up... You know, something just occurred to me, Jerry. This may be a little crazy, off the subject. I'm having my Diet Pepsi here. Did you ever stop and think that... that's nuts. Never mind. Did you ever stop and think that man is the only animal that eats the ice in his drink? Just occurred to me. At any rate, one of the categories... It's true.
I always wondered where the calories go when they take them out of those soft drinks.
One of the categories Jimmy's going to have to deal with, I think, is dealing with an old standard and making it your own. You know, a lot of people have trouble with that, and we old pros don't. So here's a little tune that's start the ball rolling in the competition, the show business competition, the show off. It's an E flat. Is that all right?
All right with me. I have a tin ear.
I always tell the audience what key the song's going to be in, just in case some hippie brought his harmonica and wants to stand up and make a jerk out of himself. Oh, I've seen it happen too many times. So here's an old standard that never really grow old. Hope you enjoy. Birds gotta swim. Fish got... Sorry.
We'll be right back after this brief but very important word. I'm sorry.
Time's up. My next guest is an anthropologist and an educator. He's recently been commissioned, as strange as it may sound, by the Professional Football League as a special consultant. Please welcome Dr. Emmanuel Kaczynski.
Score a touchdown on the sofa there.
Yeah, that's a good one, I think, yeah.
Dr. Kaczynski.
Put it through the uprights.
Well, if we're going to talk sports, I'm going to chew gum.
Hey.
Should have worn 2 pairs of socks. Doctor, why would the Football League put you on a special committee?
Well, Barth, Jerry, I was down at the Little Gem Tavern the other night thinking, and...
Great place.
Yeah, I came up with a proposal and submitted it to the Professional Football League, and they bought my proposal. They really did.
Wow.
And, professional football, as we all know, is big business in this country, and it is to the advantage of professional teams to get the very best players possible.
Sure.
And professional sports teams have been drafting players at an earlier and earlier age, and my proposal says, why wait? Draft them before they're born.
Whoa. Whoa, that's young. It certainly is young.
It is. We have been working with an artificial insemination technique to breed a race of super athletes who will become the professional football players of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Now, the last person that tried to breed a master race, etc., like that, Let's face it, it was Adolf Hitler, and you don't even hear about him anymore.
We read all about him when we were in the service. It's a real jerk. Don't get me wrong, some of my best friends are German, but he was something.
Some of your best friends are jerks. Unfortunately, some of mine are jerks.
Well, his race of supermen, if you will, his master race, they could shoot a gun or fly a plane, but when it came right down to it, even with a lot of goose-stepping for practice, you seldom heard about them kicking field goals.
Absolutely.
Which is probably why they lost the war.
Dr. Kaczynski, all foolishness aside, how exactly will this breeding of football players take place?
Well, we have a blue ribbon panel of professional coaches who are helping to select the top pro players, and they will these players will participate in an interleague sperm draft.
Can we say sperm on the air? Is that all right?
I think it's all right as long as you don't mention a brand name.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are relying on the cooperation of these players to supply us. The next step after that, of course, is self-evident.
Yeah. They have to have the cooperation. I mean, what team in their right mind is going to pay good money for an empty test tube that says reserved for Joe Namath? So, assuming they do cooperate, etc., what happens next?
Well, the sperm will then be mated with the egg cells of certain highly selected female athletes, swimmers, and roller skaters, and...
Renee Richards.
Well, yeah, sure. Billie Jean King,
Sure.
And then when that has been done and the child is born, he will be raised by the Professional Football League and put through certain special pro kindergarten and grammar school, college on a scholarship, of course, until he's ready for the big leagues.
I'll be darned. So you might say, like, the test tubes of today are the long ball threats of tomorrow.
Precisely. That's very good.
Okay, now...
And when the players have a father, one of these children, they can give out those cigars that come in the glass tubes.
Probably.
Yeah,
It's a custom, American
I'll
custom.
have to make a note of that.
Exactly what are you looking for in the ideal athlete?
Well, Barth, the athletes that we are breeding are big.
Big.
I'd
Really?
say, very big.
I should imagine you'd also try to breed for intelligence as well, right?
No. I mean, we're not looking for the kind of player who's got fewer brains than God gave geese. At the same time, we're not looking for any lawyers or anything.
So I guess everyone here, all the football fans, are going to be pretty much excited about looking forward to seeing this new breed of football players.
It does sound very exciting. You think these players will be ready to go come fall?
Oh, Jerry, it should be 20 or 25 years.
By then, the season will be over. Maybe next year.
Doctor,
Yes, Bart.
you seem to know a great deal about football as well as science. I'm kind of curious. Did you participate in sports when you were at school?
Well, I was, four eyes.
Oh,
But I was actually the head of the pep squad at Stanislaus Poniatowski High School in Milwaukee.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back after these semi-important words. Thank you. We're back. If the music only sounded 3/5 as good as you expected, it's because 2/5 of the wonderful orchestra is right here. Our fantastic music leader, our band leader, Mr. Mirthmaker himself, Mr. Music of Fernwood, Happy Kind, ladies and gentlemen.
kind of, it's music to my ears, kind of a little thing there. But you know, generally when you call me over, you sit here and, you know, chew the fat and that sort of thing. But I thought maybe you and the people out there would like to meet one of the guys in the band, you know, show you what wonderful guys we really do have in the orchestra.
I would love to. Why not? Actually, sitting next to you is your fantastic guitarist. It's Mike Minuccio, is it? Tommy Minuccio.
Tommy Marinucci, yeah.
Tommy Marinucci.
Yeah, Tommy Marinucci.
Like a brother.
Yeah, Tommy Marinucci.
Tommy, how long have you been with Happy Kind here?
I think it's been, about 5 years.
Ooh, what'd you do before that?
I was in jail.
Well, a little too much to drink or unpaid parking tickets?
No, Tommy beat the bejeepers out of a flute player. He was a lousy flute player.
Would he have something against flute players in general?
No, if he was a lousy trombone player, I probably would have done the same thing.
Okay. Our next guest is Mr. Lou Moffat. He's been on the show before. He certainly is no stranger to this couch here. It's kind of full of men over here, so we'll have him over there. He's our consumer watchdog, Mr. Lou Moffat. Lou, you're always with us. You're our watchdog. You're awake, aware, and alert.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, looking out for everybody. Now, what is it bothering you tonight?
Well, listen, I've made another tour around this country, and what I found, Barth, upsets me very much because, again, I think the American consumer is being ripped off.
In what area would this be?
That would be in the field of home music lessons.
Uh-huh. A lot of them are rip-offs.
You can imagine how upset I was. Music, of course, the language of the world, being, I think, victimized.
Sure.
You know, finally it's become respectable by such great artists as Bach and Beethoven, Mancini and Mercer.
Yep.
And now
Absolutely.
it's being degraded, I think, by these cheap rip-off artists.
You must know of some that are worthwhile, though.
Well, I do happen to know of one, Barth, but let me tell you about some of these cheapos that I found.
Okay, why don't you do the whole thing here? You're not afraid of being on TV. You're
Not
not
at
afraid
all.
of talking, and a man knows what he's talking
Wonderful
about.
people.
I'm going to have to split now.
50-50?
50-50,
Right.
that's our deal.
That's good. You know, friends, I think it's very disturbing what I found traveling across the length and breadth of this great land of ours, and it is too, isn't it, friends? Is these giant rip-offs in the home music field. Now, take a look right over here. This one says, learn to play the piano at home. Well, right away, there's a danger signal out because you don't know. Suppose you don't have a piano. Suppose you don't have a home. They're going to send someone out to your house. Big trouble right away. Stay away from this one. Right over here, here's another one. This one says, play guitar by numbers and colors. Now, right, it sounds like some kindergarten class in watercolors, doesn't it? Well, this one I think is appalling because you don't want to get involved with somebody's numbers, and you certainly don't, perhaps you don't like colored music. Again, stay away from this one. Now, there is one that I found, of course. I know how many times have you asked yourself, golly, I wish I could play the guitar like some fellow in that band right over there, friends. Well, listen, I've got good news for you, because those days are over. Those days are over. Those days are over. Why, listen to this, friends. This company, AGS, American Guitar Studios of Cleveland, Ohio, is making available for a limited time only, pay close attention, friends, a full 42-lesson course of guitar instruction right in the safety, comfort, and privacy of your own home. Yes, friends. Imagine you two, after a few short weeks, can be playing guitar favorites you've known and loved down through the years. Songs like Tango Lady, Strutting with My Lord Up Calvary Hill, and Beach Boy, Do It Again. Yes, friends. Now, hold it, friends. I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, golly, a course of instruction like that would cost me $500, $600, $700, $800, friends. Well, listen, if you think that, you're wrong. For less than 65 cents a day brings you each and every week the familiar blue and white manila envelope from AGS. Your ticket, friends, your passport, more than that, your key to wealth, success, fame, and your hunk of the American dream. Now, make no mistake, friends, we're not going to send you complicated forms, charts, musical scales with all these little black notes on them. No, sir, friends. What we're going to do, we're going to send you photographs. Yes, photographs of fingers placed on the right string at the right time. How about that? Every week you get another photograph. Every week you get another finger. After 5 weeks, friends, that's 5 fingers, and that's a hand, and that's what you're going to get from your friends when you stand up and play. Fingers like these. Imagine the thrill you'll find opening that blue and white manila envelope and finding these wonderful photographs. Here's two right here. Each and every week, another finger. Look at that. All the way through to 5 fingers placed on the right string. Well, here's what you get, friends, the very first week. 1, photographs of those fingers I just told you about. 2, an easy-to-assemble plastic ukulele, complete, friends, with 4 strings and a little cord that goes around your neck. 3, the lyrics from 100 sacred songs from the Bible, an inspirational message. And 4th, friends, a full-color photograph of yours truly playing before the 400-member Francisco Franco post of the VFW. Thrilled? Excited? You bet. Hold it, friends. You're dealing with AGS, American Guitar Studios of Cleveland, Ohio, a solid company with a 40-year reputation. How about that? 40 years of doing business, and in that time, not one conviction. Send no money. I want to repeat that. I want to say that once more. I want you to hear this. Send absolutely no money, but mail your check today to Mr. AGS, Box 78924, Fernwood, Ohio, 45989. And I'll tell you this, friends, I can guarantee you this. After 1 week, you're going to be singing, you're going to be playing, you're going to be happy. Hey, let's get right back now, friends, and I thank you.
A Gimbal Co. Enterprises Corporation.
Thanks, Hap. Well, we're back. Lou, you know, that's marvelous what you're doing, and I think we can all rest a little safer and sleep a little sounder knowing our watchdog's out there, huh?
Absolutely right.
Terrific, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The guitar course sounds great. Could someone like me learn guitar even though I've never played before?
Well, I think you should get a guitar and take the course and then just lock yourself in a room somewhere.
Yeah, Jerry, you go in the room. I'll take care of the locking. How's that?
Sounds great, though.
And you can take the key back to Cleveland. I'd like to thank all my guests tonight. Our football doctor over here, Dr. Kaczynski. Good
He
luck
scored
with
a few
that.
points, didn't he?
See you down at the bank. Laughing all the way to the bank, aren't you? I knew I'd find one.
Yeah, I got
Lou,
them there,
once
yeah.
again, watchdog of watchdogs. You're wonderful.
Thank you,
Jerry,
Bart.
you were here.
Hey,
That's it for Fernwood tonight. Happy Kind the Orchestra. Good night.
that's what it's all about.
Also appearing on tonight's show were Zale Kessler as Dr. Emmanuel Kaczynski, Tommy Tedesco as Tommy Marinucci, and Lou Felder as Lou Moffat.
Well, of course, we've just got some silliness today. We start with Barth Gimbel feeling maybe a bit threatened by the fact that Jimmy Carter was called a TV star. And while watching it, I felt a bit threatened that Ronald Reagan was the person that Barth was recommending the vote for, at least in terms of stardom. Of course, this was years before Reagan actually earned the presidency, just a few years, so I think he probably might have been strategizing at this point. And he was certainly a political figure through this era. I think California knows quite well. But this is really more that Barth is reacting to Jimmy Carter being called a TV star and challenging him to face him one-on-one, obviously with a 555 number, so we don't really expect that to happen. And the bit closes with Jerry pulling out the guitar for Barth to play a song to make it his own. And he flubs the opening lyrics of Can't Help Lovin' That Man of Mine from, I believe, Showboat. And then we bring back Dr. Emmanuel Kaczynski, who last time was here to talk about the mythology behind racial stereotypes. And now we have a new plan to build the sporting industry. You know, not like the NFL isn't $1 billion a year business nowadays. It was making pretty good money back then too. But the idea now is to build their recruiting pool in vitro. You know, back in the day, the language used was test tube babies. Now, I always pictured someone leaving a single sperm and a single ovum inside of a test tube, and the baby would gestate in there. And I guess in retrospect, I can see now that it's really a euphemism for science being involved in the act of procreation, specifically conception. And of course, Jerry doesn't realize that this is a long-term plan. And then we get a brief visit from Happy Kine at the couch, bringing along guitarist Tommy Marinucci, who really has strong opinions about someone's musical skill. Apparently he's really good at hitting people who are not up to his musical standard. Then we come to Lou Moffat, who has his own musical plan, and he certainly is writing off the at-home learning systems of the 1970s that existed, and comes with his own plan, which will send you 5 photographs. I think 6 or 7 photographs, depending on which ones you count, of 5 different fingers or more. And this is in the days before you could watch a YouTube video. I mean, it's in the days before you could watch a VHS tape at home, much less a YouTube video that instructs you in musical skill. Of course, it's always good to get in-person instruction if you can have that, if you have that available and can afford it. In this case, certainly everything that Lou Moffat brings up seems kind of scamish, and of course that seems to be an undercurrent with Barth Gimbel, and well, I guess we'll see what that means. And really, this episode just ends with some friendly banter at the couch. Not even much banter, to be honest. It's just us waving at the guests. So I suppose that's where this week ends. And at this point, maybe it's time for me to address the topic of the week, which I brought back up in February. And that was, if you could date anyone of Fernwood, who would you date and where would you bring them? Of course, I didn't get other responses, so this will be my response. And that is the correct answer, the only correct answer, May Olinsky. Because she seems like she'd be willing to communicate, and that's very important. Where would I take May? Well, obviously she's got experience in the air, so perhaps a skydiving trip would be in order. You know, just to get the adrenaline up, I suppose, and that just seems like a fun idea. So everyone, that is this week's entries in Fernwood Tonight. Thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for being you, and we will see you next week in Fernwood.